All right, Sam, time to have some fun with some progressive tweets. And this time we're going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to classify some as the good and other ones as the bad, and then finally some as the ugly. Is that right?
The funny.
The funny. Okay, sorry. So good, the bad, and the funny.
I mean, it's. I mean, you gave the deep cut reference away that it's inspired by the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But yes, it's pretty much it's the same concept. Yes, but
Okay.
the funny instead of the ugly.
Yeah. All right. Okay, brilliant. Sounds good. So we're going to start with the good, and it's a tweet by Glenn Greenwald. So I'm just going to read that out first. This Washington Post op-ed makes a vital, often overlooked point. Facebook is spending millions advocating for social media regulations because only they and Google would have the resources to comply, making it virtually impossible for competitors to survive. And the opinion piece that he quoted in Washington Post says the same. So at the very end, they say costs that could create barriers to entry for startups who want to offer a better service. So yeah, I mean, definitely agree with there. And I mean, most things I think have become immune to politics that or like to events that happen. Most things don't kind of scare me or that I think or I'm just so used to it. But the conversations around social media regulation kind of like catch me off guard and scare me sometimes only because I've come to realize it's quite widespread nowadays. And there are a lot of, as Glenn would put, well-meaning people or well-intentioned people who kind of say, like, social media platforms should do this or they should do that. I listen to like football podcast and they mention about racism that goes on social media. They're like, yeah, these platforms really need to do more, introduce IDs or this or that. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that perhaps need to be done, but I don't think a lot of them take into consideration all the different ways of how regulating and who regulates these social media platforms, what it could mean. But yeah, Sam, I don't know what are your takes with this tweet and what I just said, if you have any comments.
No, yeah, I definitely agree that first of all, that's a common tactic in all industries that the big companies actually push for certain regulations. Again, like this
Mm-hmm.
idea that some on the left think all regulation is good or something, all regulation is bad on the right. Big companies like the whole energy crisis in UK is partially the I like the price cap and all that has led to small companies basically being uh, hurt while big companies win. So Facebook is trying to do the same because they are the only ones who have the capital to, for example, have the labor force to monitor the comment section, let's say. Parler or some rival wouldn't have that. So it's a very common and usual tactic. And I would say I don't know. I'm a bit look again. I've said I'd rather all these things become public utility,
Mm-hmm.
the whole, like Amazon and like one messaging service like WhatsApp. Hopefully not like WhatsApp, like Telegram or something like that, and they all become public utility, or there is a public option as good as these or something. The idea of having IDs, that's not a bad idea, I think, because right now you can do slander and defamation online without pretty much any consequence.
But
If
I don't even really
but
see
but
what the
that's
ID changes anyway. And then there's also the problem of a lot of people not having IDs. I'm guessing that's um, one of the issues. So they wouldn't be able to
well,
use the
yeah, issue them
platform.
IDs. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
well, I mean,
No, no,
are
but
you going to issue them IDs?
like, yeah, have a fucking identity card.
Well,
Second,
not everybody can get one for a
why
host
not?
of
Like,
reasons.
no, government should give them for free. No, like many countries do. I'm
Yeah,
not
but a
saying.
lot they don't, and people who are undocumented in all kinds of
Well, they
countries
should be.
worldwide. I mean, they
Look,
should be, of course, but we're talking about the
that's a
current
whole
reality.
different.
But
Well,
that's
in the
that's example of a
like,
repercussion of if you put some
what do you
kind of
mean?
regulation. If you put a regulation without thinking through the repercussions, it could be that. So, for instance,
No, if
introducing
no, it's.
IDs
I'm
could
thinking.
mean that a whole part of the population can't use suddenly social media accounts, for example.
You can't use. Oh. Can't use comments. No, I didn't say
What?
social media accounts, but they can't comment on videos.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Okay.
they pretty much can't use the social media accounts. I mean, commenting is
Get an
one part of
ID.
it, but some people can't get ID in some situations. But that was just one example. I don't
don't.
want you to get
I find it hard
fixated.
to situate. I know. I
Yeah,
find it
well, maybe
hard an
because you
example that you
haven't
can't
heard or
get an
seen
ID.
this, but it's very common for people
But
in all kinds of
okay,
different
all right.
countries to not have
Any kind
identification.
of
But,
ID.
huh? Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Yes, you're right. All right. Depending on the country, fair enough. Depending on the country, fair enough. So, but at the same time, like I want government control over this. And if you do have government control all of this, then this type of thing would happen. That's like I would think that's like the natural consequence.
mhm.
Like newspaper industry at
But
first, everybody had it, like everybody could write whatever they want, and then you know what I mean, like but it's a negative. I would say I'm still a free speech absolutist and all that, but if it does become a public utility, which I do want it to become a public utility because everybody needs it, then I don't see how censorship and all that wouldn't go into it. It's
well, I
just
mean, yeah.
inevitable, I think.
But there are ways to do it differently. And one issue is that right now, a lot of advocates for social media regulation lean more on the platforms doing it themselves. They want like Facebook to do it. They want Instagram to do it, which is different than,
that's even worse.
Yeah, I
They're
know
not
that's
even
worse.
accountable to public.
I know that's worse than government
But
approaches.
even government that is accountable to public, that is not really accountable to public. So yeah.
But that's one problem. And then another problem that I find with social media regulation is that I feel like what people want, some people what they want is it's not attainable. There is no way of controlling everything that you don't want to be said and letting the rest slip. It's just not possible. Humans can't do it. AI can't do it. And look, secondly, society is filled with people who say these things not only on social media. I know some people say these things only on social media, but a lot of people say these things outside as well, right? When there were the Euros happening and the finals,
and I like to know who they
people were
are.
saying that outside. But on social media, I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in the ID thing, but a lot of people, you know who they are. They have their profile picture with their name and they go around saying terrible stuff.
Sorry, I was defending your position. So it came out as if I was. No. Yeah. I'm saying that, yeah, exactly. When you allow freedom of speech, it's better. You know who the racists are. They're not trying to hide
I got you.
You know, like, so yeah, I'm completely agree with that in both publicly, like in US, for example, Nazis, I believe, are allowed to march. I think that's a better than in Germany, where if you do the hand gesture, you go to jail or whatever. Like, you want to know where these motherfuckers are hiding. But then at the same time, sorry, what was before that you were saying something?
No, I mean, before when? I mean, at first I was saying that one of the problems is that they want Facebook or themselves to regulate themselves. So they want Facebook to regulate Facebook. And then I said that people think that it's possible to also regulate everything that they want. Don't want to be said. But I don't even know if that's possible. Yes, they managed to get rid of porn, for instance. They do that very easily. Or, there were a few reports of when there were killings going on, people filmed those live on Facebook. No, on social media platforms. They're able on, porn or like killing and like violence and these kind of things. They seem to be able. But as soon as there's language and there's nuance, their capabilities seem to reach a limit.
I don't think it's not. I think it's even more fundamental than that. All these well-meaning people, I think they're idiots that don't know really what they like. It's like
just like us.
It's like us. We are definitely idiots. No, but they're more than that, in a sense that, for example, you get these well-meaning, let's say, extremist Muslims that are, yes, of course, you should not allow anybody to say inappropriate words online. And you say, what's an inappropriate word? It says, well, any insult to Muhammad is and then you have the Christian ones, and
Yeah.
You all have these different definitions, and you all want to enforce your own definition on others, and you all, but in this sort of a public madness, they sort of ignore all of that, and they all agree on the fact that, yeah, we should censor.
Yeah.
They ignore the fact that they want to censor each other. That's the whole point.
That's
But they agree
exactly.
that we should censor. So it's the whole thing is. I mean, to be honest, well-meaningness, I think, is a bit
No, no.
too kind to these people. That's their business. That's how they survive these tensions and all that. So
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
there
but
is a
all kinds of
fundamental
people, and
economic
I mean,
reality.
it is true, like, I mean, bringing back the football example, but the same players, they get abused in real life too, and then they get abused in on social media, and the narrative makes it seem like sometimes this is only a social media problem, but no, it's just a reflection of what is going on.
That has to do more with, I think, mainstream media's attempt to destroy its main rival right now, online news, and
but
to do with more moral panic in general. Whenever you have a new video games every couple of years,
but I'm telling you,
video game.
This particular example that I'm giving, it's people who make their living off YouTube. And, of course, it's true that they are sick of,
they
reading racist stuff. No, they talk about all these kind of racist comments that are very common in like English football and other European football. And that's what it would be great if that didn't exist, but they exist everywhere else in society. So they're also going to exist on social media, and it's not Facebook that created racism. I mean, it existed well before Facebook.
No, that's what I mean. But I think that's, to be honest, I don't even think it's that much. Online is genuinely, it's not even as bad as real life. To be honest, real life is far worse in my experience. But depending on where you go, but online is, it's highlighted because mainstream media, they want to destroy their rival. And because people love moral panics, you read about when press was introduced, or when reading and then televisions were introduced, and all that, and all these nut jobs. And it's the same with like social, like apparently now there are rehabs for video gamers and shit. Jesus Christ, man.
I mean, if someone has gone crazy enough of video games, though, at the individual level.
No, like,
I guess you can yeah.
Like a specific rehab for that. I mean, okay, I don't know, but I do think heroin addiction is somewhat different.
Yeah, of course. That's why you need a different rehab for people who have gaming issues.
Okay, yeah, but
okay, let's not go off a tangent.
Okay.
But
video game rehab, yeah.
Going back to Glenn's tweet, I mean,
fantastic.
He highlighted a different aspect of it that what we mentioned about. But yeah, these are just one of the many problems about if going to further regulation in the way that a lot of people want and Democrats want and all that. But okay, Sam, let's move on to Bernie Sanders. Let me read the tweet for you. Do I believe in an entitlement society? Yes, I do. I believe that all Americans are entitled to quality education, to affordable housing, to a decent standard of living. I do not believe that two people are entitled to block what the majority of the American people want. Okay, so not a bad tweet again by Bernie. I mean, I find it to be a decent one, given his position, but yeah, I don't know if you have anything to say. I mean, he is right. I don't really have anything to add.
I agree with the first two parts, and I think just everybody's entitled to all of that three things. Although, I mean, decent standard of living, I have a very specific definition of that. So,
what do you think of him using the word entitlement? I like that he used entitlement.
Well, he's trying to reverse the narrative.
I like that. Right? That's really what I like the most about this tweet.
All right. Well, I do not agree with the third part, I must say.
Yeah, can you unpack that for me a bit?
Well, he's referring to the Christian cinema and Joe Manchin, who are they are not agreeing. I don't know about this. There is these two bills in US right now. reconciliation bill and the infrastructure bill. And I don't know how progressive want it to happen one way, progressive and moderate, let's say, like Nancy Pelosi and stuff. And then you have these mental people like Joe Manchin and Christian Cinema, who, by the way, they're not really that bad. They're just a foil. There are probably 20 other Democrats that would do the same, but they are the people who, get the blame usually. But they are, that's what he's referring, because they are blocking right now, because there was supposed to be a vote a couple of days ago, but Nancy Pelosi had to delay it because of the way, like, I think what these two people, Christian Sinema, Joe Manchin, want is more time for the other bill, but progressive want the both bills to pass at the same time because they don't trust. And Joe Manchin goes on TV and keeps saying, "Well, you don't trust me like me." No, nobody trusts. Yeah, and but I do want to agree with that in principle. I mean, in this specific case, of course, I agree with Bernie. But then again, I'm not sure what majority of American people want. Who knows that? It's just this majority of people. I always hated that. Just that. And second of all, imagine if that two people were Bernie Sanders and one other Bernie Sanders clone against some like military spending for invading. So I, as a point of principle, I this whole majoritarian, again, Thomas Frankel fucking hate me for this, but I've given up hope of ever sort of meeting my heroes. So yeah, so yeah, besides that, great tweet, I suppose. Great paragraphs.
So we're still in the good. We're still in the good. So Glenn and Bernie are still in the good. I think we have
I just try to point out the bad even in the good.
That's what everybody's here to see. But okay, another good, this one's good and funny because of the reply that Richard Wolff got. So I'm going to read the tweet and the reply. In the same week, Texas virtually outlawed.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, okay, let me read it. I didn't say it's bad. I said funny. In the same week, Texas virtually outlawed abortion while neighboring Mexico decriminalized abortions nationwide. Now, which is the less developed country? And someone replied, "I've been to many Mexican border towns, and I can confidently say that America is still more developed." So, of course, it kind of depends what definition or what criteria you're going on for developed. So I think they're both right here. They're both right.
I would say though that, I mean, because he mentioned border towns though, I would say like it's just we living in this. We live in this increasingly globalized world where we will have major, I think, developed urban centers. There are places in the so-called third world. There are places in India, which is considered third world, that would put anywhere in the UK to shame in terms of technological development, and like houses that have parkings for, I've seen that in fucking Tehran, houses with parkings for cars, and in a massive tower, so I think we are living in a world where increasingly rural areas are becoming desolate and poor, while certain urban areas are just amassing all the wealth in the world. But legally, I mean, I think Richard Wolff was obviously referring to a more cultural
100%.
trend than the guy there. But the border town thing made me think of that, because I'm sure in Mexico City, for example, there are places that are far more advanced than a lot of places in Idaho or something.
100%. Exactly. And I mean, here we're talking about like infrastructure and all that. I mean, that's what the guy is talking about. And, of course, infrastructure is also important depending on what kind of infrastructure. Maybe parking for a lot of cars is not as important as public transportation and all that. So I don't want to equate those two, because I mean, Richard Wolff is talking about something else, kind of like a right, which cultural rights, or like and that most of the time you associate with developed countries such as the US, which go around preaching, but then again,
do you know
maybe
Mexico's
it's not true.
stance on abortion? Because it's a Catholic country, right?
Well, based on Richard Wolff's tweet, it's been decriminalized.
Oh, sorry. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm not myself today. Jesus.
But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, that's the
Sure.
thing. I think
Sorry.
even in
And
Catholic countries
and
such
I
as
would and
Argentina, sorry, just last year they
yeah.
decriminalized abortion there as well, in very
Yeah, and I
Christian
would
countries.
there are a lot of third world countries I would point out that have very progressive laws that are not enforced
Mm.
for cultural reasons or something. So there is that too. So you have to keep that. Like sometimes a lot of countries pass a law, but then nobody like we are still
Oh,
gonna murder the people from LGBT community and nobody's gonna stop us. I mean, oh, you passed the law.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? That's the whole thing with laws. Some are like over implemented and some are like almost ignored and
Not
some
implemented.
are used properly. But yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, that's a good general point. But okay, Sam, let's keep this party moving. And we're moving to the bad now. So let me
Yeah,
read out this tweet.
I think so.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. It's just we disagree with the take, I believe. So let me read it. I'm in America, so I believe John is British. I'm in America, and it's very interesting how news about the UK is reported without the bias of British newspapers or the nervousness of the BBC. Britain's petrol crisis is a direct consequence of Brexit. This is just an accepted fact everywhere except where it's happening. So I guess, I mean, besides this room and where you're sitting as well, he should add those two because I would say we kind of disagree. I mean, I half disagree with that because, yes. So
No,
this
I
is what is,
completely disagree with
yeah.
that.
So let me just point out what he's referring to. I believe so. The petrol crisis in Britain, and the main issue is that there is petrol. It's just that they don't have truck drivers to take the petrol to the gas stations, and then people panicked and came and panic bought all the gas that was there. So now there's a huge shortage of oil at petrol stations, right?
There
And
was. It's
it
apparently
was,
fixed.
and probably gone now. And of course, before Brexit, a lot of these truck drivers were people from other European countries who had moved to the UK and were doing this job. But then, of course, they had to leave. And I mean, this is, I think, where the disagreement comes. Like, sure, that happened because of Brexit, but you had a whole year to figure this out, right? And to not run into such a ridiculous issue for a developed country. Is that the case, Sam, or do you want to add to that or change anything I just said?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, pretty much you stated my position. Besides, I mean, yes, you can say increase fucking wages, you know, as many people have said. And there are even some conservatives have said, you know,
Mm-hmm.
increase wages, pay. I'm not in UK, but let's say I'm a citizen of, you know, UK and pay me 40 pounds an hour to drive a lorry, fucking I'll do it. But pay me 5 pounds. No way, fuck
Yeah.
you. You drive the lorry. And you know, these rich assholes, just because their shops, these urbanites, I would imagine. I don't know who this person is, by the way. So maybe he's actually a nice person
Mhm.
and a very nice, gentle human being. But his comments makes me feel like I am angry because a lot of people that I know that live in cities will only care about their own supply. That's pretty much all they care about. And yeah, maybe if you had pushed for higher wages, maybe if you had voted for Jeremy Corbyn, if you had not oh, Jeremy Corbyn, I don't know about him, he could be a radical, and you became a half-hearted liberal suddenly, you know, we wouldn't be in this place. And as you said, by the way, Brexit has been happening for the last 4 years. The
Yeah.
idea that, oh, what a surprise that lorry drivers from EU suddenly can't get into UK. I mean, there was a whole fucking negotiation, years of negotiation. What were they negotiating over? Just fishing? It was only fishing in Ireland,
Yeah.
not about like, oh, guys, do we have enough lorry drivers, by the way, just in case? Should we train some? Should we increase wages? You know, so it's just the idea that, but besides the fact that any crisis such as this, by the way, anybody who tries to give you a simple answer such as this is a hack,
Mhm.
that's my view.
That was a good,
For any crisis,
yeah. No, that was a great overall
even if I
point
do.
to add to what you had just said. Yeah. No,
And by the
100%.
way, sorry, I don't know. This person, I don't think follows British media that much. I watch BBC. They're not that nervous. BBC is pretty clearly pro-Remain. Channel 4, ITV, British newspapers, you could say, are far more right-wing. But then online media, watch some online media, like you, just because you couple of fucking Twitter accounts of some either Guardian or whoever I don't know. I just don't even agree with his analysis of British media's bias. US does a great job of reporting on UK media. I mean, we are going to do this hopefully soon. Sunday morning shows in the UK manage to ask tough questions, Sunday morning questions, and then go watch like Morning Joe.
And I mean, the nicest thing you can say, I'm going to be very charitable before we move to the next tweet, which is, yes, typically countries cover other countries. Media outlets cover countries outside other countries, foreign countries, typically or oftentimes better than their own country. That's like that's typically the fact. So if you're going to be very charitable. But right, Sam, let's move on to the next tweet. And this one, I guess we've reached the funny section.
Bad funny part.
Yeah. Bad funny. And I think AOC wrote this tweet when she was in grade 9 or or maybe grade 8. Let me read it.
Can you read it? I don't get it.
In observance of Facebook being down, let's all share our favorite stories of democracy working in hopeful ways and coolest evidence-based reporting. Bonus points for uplifting others in comments. Do you think she stole that from like kids in grade 9 when they go taken on a trip, I don't know, to go see the White House, maybe go to like a foreign country or something in South America, do some work, help out. I feel like this tweet, she plagiarized it off a 14-year-old. Do you think that's the case? Do you think a grown-up can write this tweet?
Sorry, I just threw up in my mouth. But Jesus Christ.
Just read it a bit. Like, just read, coolest evidence-based reporting. Anyway, I'm pretty sure she plagiarized
look,
of a kid.
But it's just every word. Let's all share our favorite stories of this is the part that gets democracy working in hopeful ways. What the fuck does that even mean? Like democracy working in, what is the democracy working in a hopeful way or unhopeful way? I'm interested to know. And coolest evidence. The coolest evidence based, like the coolest latest climate change reports. Based on these evidence, our planet is rad. But yeah. And bonus points for uplifting others in comments. All right. Wow.
She clearly plagiarized this of a kid.
I'm gonna be.
I just refuse to believe that this is something an adult would write.
I think that's a campaign team, sort of. What do they PR team? Something they came.
No, this is her own personal account, though. I will say that. I mean, I know they can still, her PR team can still manage her account, but anyway, I'm a sure PR adult, unless they're making a tweet for kids, I think they put on the wrong.
And by the way, if Facebook is down, where do you want to share them? And WhatsApp?
I guess on Twitter. Instagram, on Twitter, below Twitter. No, Twitter.
Oh, Twitter is okay.
Because she was on Twitter.
Only Facebook is spreading hate and observance. I mean, look, I think I mentioned.
She thinks she's so
podcast, funny. I despise, in terms of like usage as a consumer, I have more hate for WhatsApp and Instagram than any like tool I have ever used combined, especially WhatsApp. But Jesus Christ, man, like these people she's crazy. Like, I mean, not crazy. She's pandering to a specific audience. I mean, she's a politician. I mean, I don't want to get to, but this is genuinely made me puke in my mouth.
Yeah, no, this is really pathetic.
I really prefer Nancy Pelosi. At least you can tell she's drunk, and she's just had too much to drink, and she's been forced to say some stuff. Whatever, man. That's your life. That's the life you chose 20 years ago. It's too late now. But anyway.
I know. Let's move on. Let's move on to a
Yeah,
tweet by Anna, which shouldn't be categorized really in bad
as
or
bad. Yeah,
funny.
it's
But
as
if
funny.
you know
This is
more
funny.
about
Come on,
Anna,
it's very.
exactly, but it's because you know about Anna that it becomes funny. So let me just read the tweet. And before that,
Mrs.
I'm sure
Kasparian,
Mrs. Kasparian, I'm
Ms.
sure
Ms.
Miss,
Kasparian.
no, Mrs.
We are not.
Oh, oh,
Ms.
Miss, sorry, sorry, Miss. Anyway,
We don't.
so
I'm not on first name basis.
so before we move on to Anna's tweet, I'm sure most of you have heard that Anna Kasparian did a debate with Ben Shapiro, and she went to like the Economic Council or something. Like she did a debate in front of a bunch of like people who are neoliberal at the very least, or maybe even go further than that.
Centrist.
No, in terms of economy and stuff, maybe they're even
Oh, really?
libertarians. Yeah,
Even further?
maybe the crowd. So she went in front of them and debated Ben Shapiro. So here's the tweet. Going to be insufferable for a second to make an important point to those who want to accuse me of being some sort of demon for allegedly platforming another demon just by debating Shapiro. I went before a room full of literally 1,000 people who disagree with me. So Sam, tell me why this tweet is funny.
Well, obviously she's always suffering. Just the second is that's just wrong. This is inaccurate. So but yeah, that's the obvious inaccuracy in this tweet, I think. But no, I mean, that aside, I think I mean, she's somebody who seemed to have criticized a lot of people for platforming people that are right wing, or for example, or are dishonest actors, let's say. For example, people who, I mean, this name is going to bring up some, like people like Proud Boys that were brought. There was this guy from Proud Boys that was brought on, Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore himself.
Oh, that's a perfect like for like example. Beautiful.
Yeah, and not just Aaron Matip. I mean, to be fair, she did accuse Aaron Matip of being. To be fair, she accused Aaron Matip of being a foreign agent, pretty much, or possibly foreign agent. Cenk outright said it, but she's somebody who has. It seemed I don't recall any specific quote from her, but from whatever I remember, she was very critical of people who platform dishonest actors, and she has criticized Glenn Greenwald for being platformed in other
exactly
in places where, as you said, I haven't seen this debate, so I'm trusting you're not lying to me, but I'm guessing this wasn't some communist sort of gathering, or
no, I mean she says it herself,
thing.
and she's right. It's like the Economic Council or something.
Exactly.
I forgot what, but something like that.
So yeah, the funny the hypocrisy is the hypocrisy is just unbelievably unlimited. It's infinite. It's infinite.
100%. I mean, I don't know if I read like this is point 1. I read point 2 and 3 quickly based on what I saw.
There are other points?
Yeah, she doesn't explain how it doesn't, but she doesn't continue with this. They're like slightly different. So folks, if I've missed something, if we're missing something, if for some reason the comparison that we're doing is not right, let us know.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, that's the only thing I would be upset about, if I misrepresent someone's views. Otherwise, I don't really.
I don't think so. And if you did, I read the other tweet. Yeah, I read the other tweets too, and they didn't build on this in any way that changes this. And I just want to mention one more thing about the debate. Hold on.
No, just my last criticism. Just you're like platform, like who the not just Anna Kasparian, a lot of people who talk about platforming and not platforming, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, you're not, well, okay, but like fucking New York Times does exposes on people and it doesn't change anything in their life. Like, if I platform this person, oh my God, what have I done? Oh, how sad it is. Oh, I should I sleep tonight? But Jesus Christ, calm down. You're having some online talks. 3 people, 1,000 people see you, they go home, they forget about it. Chill the fuck out. Sorry.
1,000 people who, I mean, they were their source of entertainment. The debate between Ben Shapiro and Anna Kasparian is what? I mean, it's like version of like it's like a TV show on E! Entertainment. I mean, I don't know how to put it. It's just like
It's like
two
league.
monkeys up
No,
there
it's
dancing for them, really.
it's like
Like,
what's Premier League, then you have
oh
League
yeah, like
One, then you have
yeah.
what?
No, but this is worse. This is way below than that. It just keeps on
It's
going.
like league. It's like third league. Yeah, exactly. It's like third league commentators talking to each other. None, they're not neither experts. They're not real journalists, either of them. Oh, and then I platform Ben Shapiro. I'm sure now Ben Shapiro has broken through so many
Yeah.
minds. Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, I guess they just debated. I mean, people who watched it, I mean, whether you're on the Anna Kasparian side or the Ben Shapiro side, I'm sure you got a lot of entertainment because, you know, they just said obvious things about their side. You know, one said no taxes, one says more taxes, and they enjoyed it. And last thing to say on this, so I didn't watch the debate, but Cenk Uygur put out a video, like 20-minute video of highlights of Anna Kasparian and Ben Shapiro. It's like 2 clips from Anna Kasparian and Ben Shapiro, and then it's just like Cenk like responding to the questions and like to the arguments and stuff. Just himself. He was like so involved in the video. It said highlights of them, but it's just Cenk. But it was like one of those, you know.
I haven't seen this, and I don't believe this, but Cenk did a debate with Ben Shapiro at some point, and the general online like view was that he lost. I doubt it because Ben Shapiro is one of the I mean the dimmest possibly person I've ever met. Like somebody who I am surprised he has learned to, you know, tell the time. I don't know, probably as a digital time watch. I doubt he knows how the, you know, clock works.
You're spot on.
But you know, but so I mean, not Cenk is we again not to defend him, but like I doubt he lost to Ben Shapiro. Like Jesus Christ, like, you know, I've seen like elephants more intense. But yeah, so but I think he may have been pissed off about that, so he made this video as a if I was there, you put I don't know. I haven't seen any of this, so I don't know.
No, same here. I haven't seen that debate with Ben Shapiro, but actually in this one, and I don't remember what the hell Ben Shapiro said, but Cenk and TYT showed a few clips, and it's just like Ben Shapiro saying like the most ridiculous thing, like, you know, in the fastest pace possible in 20 to 30 seconds. I mean, you know, just it was typical Ben Shapiro.
Does crazy things.
I mean,
no, but to be honest, if somebody was serious, I really want, if he was alive, I wish Mr. Cohen, Stephen Cohen, the Russia prof, like somebody like that. I really want somebody like that to have a debate with Ben Shapiro, just to be like, okay, child, calm down. Now, you state your arguments one by one, and we go through them. Just because you go like a fucking radio on double speed doesn't make you right. Calm the fuck down. You know, have some weed. I don't know, whatever opposite interacts with Adderall or Ritalin or whatever you had. So,
but then his supporter would say, like, you know, he was being demeaning to him and all that, and Ben Shapiro would still come out a winner out of that. That's the thing with his strategy. If you point out that you're speaking too fast and saying this, then the counter is that you're too dumb to understand and you don't know the point.
I don't like, man.
Yeah, I know you don't care. I'm just saying.
No, wait. If you're a fan of Ben Shapiro, you're far too gone as just like let go. No, I just want him to be crushed. I don't care if his audience are converted or not. I mean, like,
I know his audience, but he'll still look good. He still come out looking good in their eyes.
Look good to those idiots, of course.
To
those idiots, of course, he looks good. I mean, whatever he does, I mean, like, again, even in a way, I have some, like, at least for Ben Shapiro, I have a respect that he's doing the grift. I mean, the people who give him, you know, Jesus Christ, what, like, that's like subhuman, probably, I would think. I mean, like, imagine, like, does he have a Patreon or something? Like, people, like,
I'm
give
sure
money
he has
to that
everything.
guy.
Man, this guy makes a lot of money. But
No, no, I understand like Koch brothers giving you money to promote a
No,
certain
no,
idea, but like human beings, like individual, like
man.
Koch brothers aren't human.
Anna herself mentioned that. Anna herself mentioned, I think, in the tweet. But yeah, Ben Shapiro has probably more people who donate him than everybody who donates to all the different
Wow.
progressive channels on YouTube. I would imagine. I
And
would just
and then
imagine.
you say there is hope for humanity and there's going to be solutions for
I
climate
just wish
change.
I was a right-wing commentator. I'm sure I would be far better off in
Oh,
life. But this is
financially.
this is the unfortunate hand that we've dealt with. Now we have to come here peddle progressive views to three people.
I just, if I could control myself for like a year not to laugh at such idiotic ideas, like I mean, it must be a real art for, you must be either really dim or really, really bright to say what Ben Shapiro says and not laugh out loud while you say it, or just I
He
mean,
does it.
it's
Kudos
just,
to him.
you know,
Good for him.
yeah, I mean, if it's about, if he's doing it knowingly, really kudos to him. If he's doing it not willingly, well, what a, god damn it, dumb luck you had.
Either way, either way. But okay, Sam, I think we should stop here. We went from AOC to Anna. Right now we're at Ben Shapiro. So after this is Dave Rubin, and then I don't even want to know who is next. So let's stop right here. But yeah, folks, if comments, questions, criticisms, other takes, please leave them below and we'll make sure to get to them. As
Yeah.
always, do you have something to say? Final words?
Yeah, just, yeah, because I haven't seen some of these videos and we haven't seen some of these videos. Please, like, we are making some general comments. Don't jump on us for like, no, you missed that one specific.
Yeah, but point it out. But yeah, and we'll take a look. But yeah, bear that in mind. But okay, thank you. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.